Hello everyone, it's Joel Davis with United Medical Transportation Providers Group, and you are the broker.com, helping you to build a highly effective and highly profitable broker business. So this is going to be probably a lengthy video. I'm not sure how it's going to go. If I need to cut it off and splice it, it's probably because I get a little choked up and emotional. I recently lost my mother, and as a mamoni, as a mama's boy, it's very difficult. And I know that many of you have already gone through this, losing your mother. I lost my father going on 5 years ago. I think it was 5 years ago, and but I never had a close relationship with my father like I do my mother. My father left when I think I was 7, so I didn't have anywhere near the depth or level of relationship as I did my mommy. So as many of you know, I took a hiatus these last several months as my mother was enduring a number of health-related issues that started last fall-ish. So I took a lot of time off, as many of you know. So first and foremost, and stay tuned, watch the entire video because I do have an important message for your business and everything. But first and foremost, I want to give thanks to so many of you who I work with and have relationships with, and you knew that what I was going through. You guys are absolute prayer warriors. Some of you out there are just absolute phenomenal prayer warriors. So many of you sent me the most wonderful emails, messages, letters, cards. Man, I can never thank you enough. Some of you are such strong prayer warriors that it is absolutely, it's heartwarming. It's phenomenal. And I'm not talking about the little like I'm not a big fan of LinkedIn. I can't stand LinkedIn because everyone goes up there and posts their little quick whips that have no depth, no relevance, no importance. Man, some of you just your messages and your cards and your letters and your emails and everything were just absolutely phenomenal, and your prayers were just very heartwarming. So I cannot thank you, all of you who prayed for my mother and my family enough. It was absolutely phenomenal. So thank you all very, very much. It's also important that I give huge kudos and thank yous and appreciation to my staff who kept everything going while I took this lengthy period of time, this hiatus. My team did a great job. Many of you continued to correspond with them and email, and they were able to help you, which is great. Those in my broker business, even my contractors, many of them don't even know anything about my videos, but absolutely phenomenal. My regional directors and Amelia and everybody, just to keep everything going in my broker business and everything with the NEMT. Man, it's just been absolutely phenomenal. So the outpouring from so many of you guys are absolute prayer warriors. I know this is a day and age where you're not supposed to be talking about prayer and morals and values and having faith. In today's day and age where down is up and up is down, and there is no moral authority, there is no right or wrong, which there is. But to know that so many of you are so strong in the faith and strong in the word, it means a great deal to me. So I can never thank you guys enough for all of your prayers and support. Likewise for my entire team that have just been doing an absolute phenomenal job. What I want to do, I mean, I'm never going to be able to get to so many emails, and there's just 1,000,001 emails here that my team kept putting into my inbox that I'm just never going to be able to get to them all. It is what it is. I'm going to take a little bit more time. I know it's been a while since I put out some videos, and I need to Man, there's so much content, so much stuff, so much information that I'll put out in the coming weeks. A lot of it I'm going to publish on our Teachable platform. So for all of you who are members of UMTPG, I know I've been quite remiss these last several weeks and months, but I will get to that. So stay tuned. There's going to be some very good information coming very soon. I'll start putting that together soon. I just need a little bit more time to take care of some other things with my family. Things things to be expected. Again, many of you've already lost your mother, your father, or both. And now, until you actually join the club, I jokingly call it now I'm an orphan. I'm a little, I'm a Mamoni, and Mamonis are not supposed to be without their mommies. So I guess it's time for me now. I have to grow up and be a big boy and start being responsible now. So I can't be an immature little boy anymore, losing my mommy. Now I'm an orphan. But I want to share with you my biggest enjoyments. And so, in sharing this with you, again, I'm not sure how this video is going to go, because I just, I mentioned before in some of my previous videos, I know that, some of these videos, they're honestly, I don't tell people what they want to hear all the time, because that's not what my job is. My job is to tell people what I believe they need to hear to make their business the best it can possibly be. Based upon my personal experience, not only in my business and my successes, but also that and working with different providers and clients and customers, all different industries around the country. And this channel, these videos have actually become, to a large degree, a type of therapy. Definitely my own ministry, and my own type of ministry, and working with different people, because I've always told everybody, hey, I'm a biblical capitalist. But in losing my beautiful, my precious little Italian mother, the absolute best part is being able to know that so much of what I did was to ensure that my mother always had everything that she ever wanted. And she never wanted much. But I always wanted to give her more. And God had blessed me with the ability to do that through my business endeavors. When my mother was 70, I always grew up, and my mother always said, I don't understand, why didn't my parents ever want to go back to Italy? Why didn't they ever want to go back to Italy? Why didn't they take me back to Italy? My mother was the youngest of 9. I'm the youngest of 7. And when my mother was 70, my sister and one of my sisters, I have 4 sisters and 2 brothers, and one of my sisters and I said, we're going to Italy. Gotta do it while you're young, can't do it when you're old. And that was the first time we went when she was 70, and we went for many, many, many years. Every single year we'd go for the month of September, and then when I started coaching football, we had to kind of change that up quite a bit. So my mother, all the way until we got on the plane down in Philadelphia to go to Italy, she swore that we were just pulling the wool over her eyes. We weren't really going to take her. And again, we landed in Rome. We spent time in Rome. This is the first time we went. We spent some time in Rome, and then we traveled down to Salerno. We met up with some of our family, and we traveled inland all the way up in these hills to where we have cousins, and we met them for the first time. And the little village where my grandfather was from, it's called Roscigno. It's now Roscigno Vecchia, which means Old Roscigno. And when you look at this picture, this is a picture of my beautiful, precious little Italian mother and me and my son and my daughter. We are literally standing in front of my grandfather's house. This is literally the front of my grandfather's house. This was this is their version of what an apartment house was. This is a 4-unit apartment house. That's how small they were. Where you eat is also where you cook, and you had 2 small rooms in there. So my mother always saying, why wouldn't my mother and father ever want to go back to Italy? Why didn't they take me? It wasn't until we literally got in this village and she saw the house where her father, my grandfather, grew up in, lived in, and we drank from the same well water that still has running water to this day that we see every single year when we go back. It wasn't until we got there and she saw this firsthand, she realized this is why we didn't come back. So needless to say, my mother comes from very humble beginnings, and although I always wanted to give her anything and everything, she's one of those people that doesn't matter how rich you are, when you take her out to a restaurant, she's always going to read from the right side of the column left. She's always going to read on price first because she doesn't want to burden you to spending money on her. But that's the type of wonderful consideration and precious mommy that she is. So we used to always tell her name is Elizabeth, and we always said that, Mom, you need to be like Queen Elizabeth. Whatever you want, you can have, Mom. When I was working hard, starting my NEMT business, and I got my first big contract. It had to have been late 2002 because in 2003 is when I bought her a house. Bought her a house that she lived in all the way up until till now. And I bought her that house in 2003, and all of that came from the success I had in my first business, my NEMT business. And I was able to do that because I had a good trajectory for my business, signed a very good contract. That's the year that I bought my mom a house. I bought myself a house, bought new cars, things like that. And that doesn't mean I was being foolish with my money. I wasn't. I made very good deals. And the one thing, I'll tell you a quick story, the one thing that was awesome, always makes me laugh, one of my fondest memories, was that first time that we went to Italy. We went to visit the Vatican, and for many of you that have been to the Vatican, you know when you go into St. Peter's, they have that, I call it a hallway, I don't even know what the proper word is. They have that long hallway, and you can enter in through different doors to actually get into the chapel, and it's guarded by Swiss guards. And we took our tour of everything, took our tour of the Vatican, Sistine Chapels, all that kind of good stuff. And my sister wanted to go climbing to the top of the Vatican, and I said, hey, I love you, but you're on your own on that one. I'm a fat man. I can't be climbing those stairs. That ain't going to happen. So you go climb that. While you do that, I'm going to go down to the catacombs. I need to go down there and investigate some dead bodies. Mom, you stay here, hold tight. She is going to go up. I'm going to go down. We'll come back, rendezvous in the middle. So we do that. And where the Swiss guards are, the Swiss guards, they're immovable objects. They're just standing there with their pikes, emotionless. And so I go down to the catacombs, spend some time, do my thing. I come back up. I can't find my mother. Where did she go? I start running down this hall. I almost run past her, and I stop, and I come back. And I look, and there's my mother in a section that's roped off where she's not supposed to be. And my mother is sitting there. It was like a special little moment in time where she actually was Queen Elizabeth. Here she is. There's 2 Swiss guards standing there with their pikes, motionless. There's my mother behind them in a place where she's not supposed to be. And she's sitting there. The way she was sitting, her feet couldn't touch the ground, so she had her legs just swinging. And she was just putting on some hand lotion or oils and getting herself all freshened up, and I almost ran past her, and I had to stop and come back. And it was just, I wish back then cell phones weren't what they are now. You didn't have the cameras readily available, things like that. So I wish I had a picture of that. For the life of me, I don't remember what excuse she gave me of how she got past the Swiss guards to be sitting there just taking in the sun, enjoying it, putting on her oils, freshening up as she's guarded by 2 Swiss guards like Queen Elizabeth. And again, I just wish I remembered I wish I remembered what she told me, how she pulled that off, but it was priceless. And that's my beautiful, precious mommy that who could have anything she wanted. And the other, the absolute best time of her life was the last 4.5 years, just over 4.5 years, with having my daughter, who will soon be 5, and my son. My mother was exceptionally close to them, and I knew that when I got married, I definitely scaled back my personal schedule. When I was single, I'd do whatever I want. I'd travel all over and meet with client providers, this and that. And when I got married, I scaled that down dramatically because we wanted to have kids sooner rather than later. We were older, so between getting married, having the kids, and I wanted my kids actively involved in my mother's life, which I had my kids there all the time. And my kids are my daughter, who is right now a little bit, I shouldn't say a little bit, but a lot of bit confused. Where's her Nona? It's very, very difficult, to say the least. So that's the hardest part. But the greatest joy for me, personally, in looking back, was having the financial means to do whatever I want, when I want, not for me per se, but to put my mother, my children in the position to always be together, because my kids were with her every day. We called her Nona Nanny. She would come here, we would go there. To have the freedom and flexibility. If I was working a regular job or something like that, I mean, it never would have been possible. Never would have been possible. But it's through God's divine plan that I was in the position to do things like this, and just all along the way, and with my wonderful mother now turning in, and she fought to the very end. She was sharp as a tack. She definitely wanted to live. She wanted to be healed. We fell a little bit short. My mother was tough. She beat stage 3 colon cancer, then she beat stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma. No one was giving her a chance. She beat that. Then she had many years consecutively where she would have pneumonia. She'd have to spend time in the hospital. And every time she was in the hospital, each year it was a little bit longer each time. Fortunately, last year she wasn't in the hospital, but then this year she was in the hospital, and every single time, that had a damaging effect on her lungs, and we ended up falling a little short this time. We thought we were going to be able to pray this one through, but God had a bigger plan. So she fought like a soldier till the very end, but she ended up having to turn in her helmet for a crown and transitioning to glory. So the good news is, because of our faith, we know where she is. And one day, we'll all see her again. But just not yet. So, why do I share all of this with you? Because many of you have already been down this road before, and it would be easy for anyone to say, I understand, but until you, as I jokingly call it, being an orphan now I need to grow up. Until you go through it, man, it's tough. It's tough. And again, many of you watching this, you've already lost your parents. Maybe a long time ago, maybe a short time ago, and my heart definitely goes out to you for those of you who haven't lost your parents, my strongest encouragement is that you do everything possible to make your mother a Queen Elizabeth. Everything possible to make your mother a Queen Elizabeth. I always knew that time was precious and time was finite, but then, it doesn't matter how much you prepare, you are never ready. Which leads me to my point. I'm never going to be able to read all your emails, and again, you guys sent some awesome emails, and there's just hundreds here. I'm never going to get through them. I just want to read one of them that's an email that I want to leverage as an opportunity to further underscore your need to seize the day, to do everything you possibly can to maximize your time. Some of you watching this, you may think, Joel, why are you talking about money and business at a time like this? It's because if it wasn't for what I did with business, how I did it, the money I made, my mother wouldn't have been able to do many of the things that she was able to do these many years. We wouldn't have been able to create a lot of the memories. Sure, we would have created memories. It would have been different, but knowing that I could do whatever I want when I wanted, not only for me or my family, but for my mother, is absolutely priceless. Absolutely priceless. And if I could empty my bank accounts now just to have her back, even if it was for one more day, I would do it for sure. So, I'm just going to read you part of one email just to answer this, because it just kind of captures me a little bit, because it's, I'll just read it and we'll take it from there. And again, this is just part of an email that Dawn put into here. Looks like this came in here yesterday, so this is somewhat recent. And part of this email, the person writes, what I believe to be useful about Joel is him being able to offer a proven system of success. Is it duplicatable for someone just starting out, or does his system fare better with existing companies looking to grow and improve? I've done sales for most of my career. Is it still possible to start a business and scale it over $1 million in this market and climate within a 5 to 7 time period? Is that a realistic expectation? Thanks, all the best, George. George, the reason I'm sharing your email is because it's realistic. And again, I go back, the reason I'm sharing this email during this time right now and making this video is because there's some of you who have the similar type question. A lot of people will ask, well, can I start my business? Can I become 7 figures, next year, the year after? No. It's going to take a little bit more time than that. But George, you are exceptionally realistic. Your 5 to 7 year time period is realistic. That's what I appreciate. This is one reason why I'm sharing this. The other important reason why I'm sharing this is because you specifically say in this market and climate, and that's absolutely critical, because many people who are, I call it, following the path of least resistance, or they're chasing the low-hanging fruit. They just want to get a business, they want to get a vehicle, and they just want to sign up with a broker. It's just comical, some of the emails we get, people who are, I'm just going to sign up with Logisticare, who've now, for many of you who don't know, Logisticare is trying to rebrand themselves, change their name to like Motive Care or whatever it is. So kudos to them. They're trying to rebrand themselves, probably because their reputation is god-awful, because honestly they suck. So if you're looking to build a business that is going to be just so heavily dependent on brokers, is it realistic for you to build a 7-figure business? No. The reason I share all this with you is because specifically, I cannot encourage you enough. Whether you've already lost your parents or loved one, or you're young enough and your parents are both living, I cannot encourage you enough, man, to just seize the day. Build your business properly so that your business is empowered, so that you could do what I did, and you can create Queen Elizabeth. You can shower your family with opportunity. You can take care of your parents when they're older. When I bought, we got the house in 2003, and we're fortunate we did, because it wasn't too long thereafter. One of my sisters, again, I have 4 sisters, and one of them was walking across the street with one of her daughters, and she literally got hit by a 19-year-old college student from SUNY Binghamton who was on the cell phone, not paying attention. Boom, just plowed him. And so her family, she has 6 kids, and they had to get scattered to the wind. So some of her kids, my nieces and nephews, some went to live with my oldest brother in Kansas. The 2 oldest ones stayed here. 2 of them went to live with my mother. If we didn't buy that house, it wouldn't have been feasible. You know, clearly as you look at that picture of us, you could see that my mother, she came from very humble beginnings. But in making smart, sound business decisions, the sky is the limit. The sky is the limit. I hate to say self-empowered. I don't like that term. I like to say God-empowered. I know that's probably not a good catchy phrase. Many people aren't supposed to be talking about God or faith or anything like that in today's climate, but what do I care? But when you look at that picture and you keep things in perspective, to know that my grandparents came through Ellis Island legally. Oh, there's another word you're not supposed to talk about. No one's illegal. There's no illegal aliens. No, there is. There's illegals and there's illegal aliens. My grandparents came to this country legally through Ellis Island in 1912. And it wasn't until my mother was 70 years old and she literally saw the house where my grandfather grew up in and the well that they went and got water from, that she realized this is why they didn't come back to Italy. Greater opportunity. But still, had my grandparents not done that, we wouldn't have what we have. We wouldn't be where we're at. So, what's my message to all of this rambling? Many things. First and foremost, thank you all. Thank you all for your wonderful emails and your prayers. And it's so comforting to know how many of you are actively praying, and I can never thank you enough. And to know that so many of you are literally prayer warriors. I'm not talking about the quick whip, the LinkedIn, the superficial, no depth, one-liners. So many of you are prayer warriors, and you're strong in your faith. It's very heartwarming and gratifying. And again, if I could just press upon you the need to seize the day. You know, when I was being a bad boy back in the day, I'd be the first one to tell you I'm a Christian, man. I was sin living. I'm chasing flesh. I'm chasing women. I'm being a bad boy. It was my mother who was just constantly being a prayer warrior. And that's why I have such appreciation for it. Because while I was being a hypocrite, the biggest one out there, I'd show up on Sunday, go to church on Sunday, take my mother to church, whatever. And then I'd go off and be a bad boy with women at night. That wasn't good. Biggest hypocrite out there. But it was my mother. It was my mommy, my beautiful, precious little Italian mother who prayed me through. And if it wasn't for my precious mother, and many of you, you're in the same situation. You got a wonderful, precious mother, father. They prayed you through. Now it's time for you to continue to give back and sow into them and sow into your family. And your business is a critical component that's going to allow you to do that. And my encouragement to you is to heed my advice, heed my counsel, build your business so that you are not dependent on others. Build your business so that your business itself gives you leverage where, versus working for a broker and you just sit back and wait and let them give you what they want and they dictate terms to you and you're reactionary. I encourage you, build your business so that you are proactive. In those early stages, I had a great mentor great man. He was like the father I didn't have. He passed away. He passed away in his sleep at age 54. Age 54. And he was like the father I didn't have. I learned a great deal from him. And I had a few other people who sewed into me, and even when I didn't understand everything, but I was smart enough to listen, heed their advice when they told me things, and that's what I did. And man, it paid dividends. And now you fast forward all these many years, it put me in the position where over the last 4.5 years since my daughter was born, and then my son, the reward for my mother having them in her life was absolutely priceless. Anybody in my family, anyone who's close to us will tell you my mother lived and died for those two. And there's 19 grandkids in the family, but my siblings, were all over the place, but I made sure that I came back and I was here with my mother, because I'm a Mamoni, I'm a mama's boy. And then when I had my little Bambini, I had to make sure that they were close to my mother. And my greatest reward is being able to let my mother be Queen Elizabeth, be with my children every single day. My only regret is that in her passing, she is not going to be there with them in the flesh. But I'm going to make sure that my kids never forget about my mother. I'm going to make sure that they always speak her name. So, again, thank you all you prayer warriors. In the coming weeks, as I get back on this horse and I have so many things I need to get caught up on. Some of them I don't even know where I'm going to start, but we're going to continue to put one foot in front of the other and move forward. To God be all the glory. Thank you all for the support. I appreciate it. I encourage you. Maximize your time. Build your business properly. Sow your seeds now. Had I not started to bust my butt those first couple years, I never would have had that contract that put me on a great trajectory. And from there, we just started to build and scale and multiply. And I encourage you, do the same thing. I've already made 1,000,001 mistakes. Learn from my mistakes. Learn from the mistakes that I share that other client providers. Learn from my mistakes. There's nothing wrong with making money. If I didn't make money, I wouldn't have had the freedom and flexibility that not only do I have now, but I was able to have and extend to my mother, my beautiful, precious little Queen Elizabeth. And I encourage you to do the exact same. Maximize your time and earning potential so you can make as much money as possible. There's nothing wrong with that. Make as much money as you can so that you leave an inheritance for your children's children, as you're called to do in the Bible. So that if your parents are still living, you could maximize your time together with them and create those memories, knowing that it's never going to be enough and you're never going to be ready. You're never going to be ready. So again, to all of you, I appreciate all your prayers and well wishes. Continue to stay tuned as I get a couple things done here in the coming days and weeks. As I take a little bit more time, I promise you I will have much more content, videos that we'll upload to our Teachable account. Stay tuned. God is on the throne. God has a plan. His ways are not our ways. His words are not our words. His timing is not our timing. So that's where the faith comes in. We need to have faith and trust in Him. And it is difficult at times, but that's where the faith comes in. So stay tuned. And I will continue to share some great information that's coming out very, very soon as I begin to catch up on many projects that we had been working on last year before I had to take time off. But as we get back on this horse and we share that information, it is going to be a great opportunity and blessing to all of you. So stay tuned, because when you do, I will see you at the top.
Be still, my soul. Be still and know that He is God. Rest quietly. Rest in His loving arms, for He is watching over you. Ever faithful, ever true. So be still, my soul. Be still and know that He is God. Be still, my soul. Be still and listen for His voice. Rest in His peace, knowing how much He cares for. He is watching over you. Ever faithful, ever true. So be still, my soul. Be still and know. Be still, my soul. Be still and know that He is God. Rest quietly. Rest in His loving arms, for He is
I think about your face. You were made in my own image carefully. My love would finish forming you into who you are. I won't let you go. I'm here with you always. I watch you grow strong because I know you're fearfully and wonderfully made. Long before you drew your first breath, I knew your name. Surely goodness and mercy will follow you forever. For you are fearfully and wonderfully made. When your sky is cold and lonely and your heart is filled with fear, I will wrap my arms around you. Know that I am here, and I will keep you safe and sound through the darkness that surrounds. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Know that I am with you. You will never be when your way is bright and glowing and your soul knows no despair. Can you hear me singing with you? In your triumph I will share, for I am watching over you, and I rejoice in all you do. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Know that I am with you. tightly to your heart. I'm forever, always with you. I will be